What's up, y'all? What has she done for we lately? We're gonna get started in like 1 minute. Come on in here. I'm letting the music play like y'all like. Letting the music play for a couple seconds. Then we about to get started in about 20 seconds. Welcome. And yeah, I appreciate all my new listeners, all my old time listeners. But again, message to my new listeners, because I got some comments on the video yesterday asking what song that is. That's my exclusive goddamn song that I ain't sharing with none of y'all, all right? But that is my intro song. So if you want to know the name of that song, it's called Dewan's intro song. I thank y'all for liking the song, but truth be told, I ain't sharing shit. But welcome. Dun 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 dun. Ooh, yeah. Dun. What has she done for we lately? Dun 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 dun.
What have you done for me lately?
Dun. Ooh, yeah. Janet Jackson. For those of you who don't know, Janet Jackson, you know, you can tell she ain't paying attention to nothing going on. She's on a worldwide tour. Her brother just died suddenly out of nowhere. She ain't tripping on none of this shit. But she did say that, you know, she heard that Kamala Harris wasn't black. She heard that her father was white. And it was somewhat convoluted, but we get the sentiment, because Kamala Harris's father, from those who've done genealogy work, their words, they say that Donald Harris is of Irish Indo-Jamaican descent. He's an Irish Indian born in Jamaica. And so that's probably what Janet Jackson is referring to. And so outlets like TMZ, first off, a white-owned outlet can't tell us shit. We can't tell white folks that Irish Catholics and Anglo-Saxon Protestants aren't the same. So they can't tell us who the F we are off top. And then you had people who love playing the house Negro role, like D.L. Hughley going out act a legend like Janet Jackson over a pretender politician like Kamala Harris. So, you know, Janet Jackson talking about her race is on the table, because Kamala's always talking about her race, and she's done nothing for black people. You know, black people have the right to ask this one simple question.
What have you done for me lately?
We got the right. You want to go around talking about putting greens in a bathtub and chucks and pearls and HBCUs? Cool. Then black people got the right to do this. What the fuck have you done for me lately? Hold on, I gotta pour some wine to this. I gotta drink some white wine and talk to y'all today. I gotta drink some white wine and talk to y'all today. Yeah, some Riverbend Chardonnay, California Central Coast. Like my aerator. Well, anyway, good old Moorish symbolism right here. Anyway, so at the end of the day, like I said before,
What have you done for me lately?
we got the right to ask that goddamn question. And people not from our lineage don't have the right to say anything. Before I go deeper into it, let's first start things off with Janet Jackson's quotes. We're going to read some responses, and then we're going to break this shit down academically. We're going to take this, okay, to what do the social sciences say? The difference between race, culture, and ethnicity. What do the books say? We're gonna break it down in that level so we can attack this situation 360 degrees. Because one thing I will not accept is some dickhead coming around talking about some xenophobia. Fuck you, you lame brain off top. This ain't about xenophobia. Every race, ethnicity, and culture deserves the respect of acknowledgement because every culture is different. Every race is different. Every ethnicity is different. And different does not mean bad. Different is a neutral term. It's not good or bad. But when you understand people's race, culture, identity, and bloodline and things like that, you can understand a little bit more about how they react to different kinds of pressures and their political agendas. It's the reason why the Italian mafia, you got to have bloodline going back to Sicily. It's also a reason why every country in the West shares the leaders share a bloodline. The leaders all share a bloodline. That's for a reason. When you're talking about the British monarchy, they're still all German. They're Anglo-Saxons, Protestants. The people who rule the West are white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, and they draw a clear distinction from Irish Catholics. That's why President Kennedy that's why it was such a big thing. Kennedy winning the 1960 election was as big as Obama winning the 2008 election because amongst white folks, Irish Catholics ain't white, and they still ain't white. And Irish weren't accepted as white until 1977. Look it up. Irish people didn't get officially classified as white until 1977. Why? Because of all of that Scot bloodline, all of that Moorish bloodline in Ireland. That's why they're Irish. Ish is something like too much black bloodline with all that red hair and thick ass skin that they got. That thick red hair. White folks know the difference. And your black ass ain't gonna be able to come around and tell them who is what is what. Because the reason why the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant is so hyper aware the difference between him and an Irish Catholic is because the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant knows what they did to those Irish Catholics. All those wars, all of the downright debauchery they did with those folks. So they're always going to understand the difference. Why? Because they know that although things are cool now, one day you might want revenge for that shit I did to you. So understanding bloodlines and where people come from makes a difference when it comes to to the security and safety of your culture and people. That's the reason why people in India draw a clear distinction from the people in Pakistan. We all think they look alike, and half of you dumb Democrat niggas will be like, well, they all black. Nigga, while a Hindu, Indian, and a Pakistani will goddamn beat each other's asses if they walk across each other in the street. The difference between an Armenian and a Persian. The difference between a French white person and a German white person, and understanding the historical beef between these tribes of people, Vandals, Visigoths. The world is already in tune to this vibration. Black people are the ones that are slow to this shit. It's not about hating other people and drawing lines of division. The lines are already drawn, stupid. It's acknowledging where they are. That's like walking onto a checkerboard and being like, man, I don't like that. You got one black square and one white square. Ain't we all just playing checkers? That's what you niggas sound like. Ain't we all just playing chess with one black square? No, you nigga, you better know the difference between a rook and a pawn, the difference between a bishop and a knight, and a queen and a king, because they all move differently. And when you understand and acknowledge, on one hand, you can appreciate the differences without hate. It's only hateful if you got hate in your heart. But understanding, because on top of that, when you understand the difference between people, you can then not culturally offend them. You won't say things like, yeah, Fife, even though Fife was dead. Even you won't say things like I listened to Snoop Dogg and Tupac in college, even though both of them niggas wasn't around in 1986. You won't do these things. You won't say things like I cook greens in a bathtub. And you also won't do things like if you're dealing in business with someone from Japanese culture, you got to understand that they're distinctly different than someone from Chinese culture. Although they're both Asian cultures. You got to know that. You got to know if you're dealing with someone from Japan, you better create a personable relationship. You don't just cut the business. If you're dealing with a European, Europeans don't care about personal. They want to cut right to business. Someone from Asia, they wanted to get to know you personally and have some kind of a personal connection before handling business. You got to know the differences. And it's not about hate. Because when you also know the differences, you know when someone tries to come and infiltrate your group and divide your group from within. And that's how the white supremacist works when it comes to black people. They bring in, they know we as a people are so accepting, we allow everyone in. And then when we allow them in, these people come in and they divide our politics. They divide, they did it with the mulattoes in the 1800s, in the 1900s. They did it with the mulattoes and the Melungeons back then. They did it, how many times do we have to keep following that? They did it with the Native Americans and the American Indians. Used the Cherokee against one another. Offered the Cherokee, hey, we're going to give you $25 a scalp for every black head that you bring in. And then for the ones that you don't bring in, you can keep and enslave them, and we'll give you that land. So you have black natives fighting against red natives, fighting against some Africans that were imported here, fighting against black aboriginals from different tribes, all doing this shit with each other while the white man sat and watched and then put us all in slavery. End up taking all our shit. But they do that, it starts when they bring someone in that looks like you to undermine the greater benefit of your tribe. That's how it starts. So the end result is what the white folks is doing. The beginning is understanding when you're having someone infiltrate your group. Because that's the person going back and telling them all your plans and all the things that you're going to do. And they're finding, and those are the people that make your group vulnerable for outside attack. Because now these people on the outside now know everything about you because of the people they implanted on the inside. Happened to Denmark Vesey, happened to Nat Turner, happens meritorious manumission ass niggas. So we got to understand there are major differences. And me being somebody that's born here on the soil, been on the soil since day one, really since day one, literally been on the soil. since day one. I am very, 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 very keenly aware of people who look like me who may not have my best interests at heart, because I understand that 8 out of 10 people on the planet are melanated. But although we share a common bond of being melanated, does not mean we share a common political agenda. Make that very clear. Just because we share being melanated doesn't mean we share a political agenda. And we have to know and understand that. We have to acknowledge that. And God damn it, my pictures aren't airdropping in that I want to show y'all as screenshots. I've been trying to airdrop this shit for. Come on, dickhead ass. Let me cancel this. Hold on, because I want to show. I just got to email myself this shit real quick. Let me just email myself this stuff real quick so we can get going with the screenshots. Let me just email myself real quick. There we go. There we go. Screenshots. Why the fuck do AirDrop be tripping so much? I'm sitting right here at my goddamn computer and the AirDrop ain't playing. Hold on. Because I want to get. Well, let me just first pull up this screen. Let's first look at what Janet Jackson said. And then, I don't want to support you, NBC News. Fuck y'all. So let's go here to what we talking about. Janet Jackson tells interviewers she heard Kamala Harris is not black, echoing election disinformation. So that's what they had to say. Let's go to what Thug MZ had to say. I almost put the H in there. Let's go to what Thug MZ had to say. These sorry ass thugs here. They got her to apologize. They got her to apologize. They got her to apologize. But we gonna keep pushing forward. Oh, Janet Jackson didn't say that. She said Janet Jackson's longtime manager clarified Jackson's claim. So her manager came out and said something for her. Okay. Look at this. Even they say Jamaican American economists. It doesn't mean black. Most Jamaicans do not claim black, unless they're trying to say they created hip hop. Then Jamaicans are only black when they're talking about claiming hip hop. If you're gonna tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help us God. I'm trying to send myself this email about DL, because DL Hughley ho ass got me blocked, so I can't pull up his Twitter. I can't pull up his Twitter because he got me blocked. So I'm trying to airdrop these tweets. That screenshot it, but whatever. But going back to what I was saying about earlier about common bloodlines, again, bloodlines matter. I always tell people to look up, if you want to understand the importance of bloodlines. This book is very expensive. It's like $1,000. But get it if you can rent it from a library. And in this book, the Burke's Peerage has been around since 1826. In this book, they're talking about the common blood ancestry of all of the world leaders, showing President Obama's blood ties to King George, and how a lot of your French, a lot of your European monarchy, so-called Middle Eastern monarchy, Eastern Europe, Western Asia, Eurasia, the Americas, whether you're talking about the Spanish Americas, the Portuguese Americas, they're all, whether you're talking about Joe Biden, Donald Trump, the Roosevelts, Lincoln, Eisenhower, Washington. You go down the list, you're going to find that there's a common ancestry between these groups of people, common bloodlines. Bloodlines really do matter. If you're not tied to certain Anglo-Saxon Protestant people from 1,000 years ago, you're never going to be a leader of a world. You're never going to be a quote unquote world leader. Bloodline really matters. And for those of you talking about conspiracy this, conspiracy that, first off, the first thing I'm gonna say is you can kiss my ass. I don't give a fuck what you believe. That's first off. But for the people who do want to know further, this is a good book to go. These books are good to have, and at least check out from a library, or you can rent them here like this. And you're talking about all the royal families around the world, okay? And this book has been in publishing coming up on 200 years. So I ain't making this shit up, you dickheads that think that way. So we're talking about bloodline here. We're talking about race. So now let's go into some. What are some of the things that? Okay, my airdrops just came through. Finally, you slow ass piece of. Hold on, my bad. I be talking shit to my computer. My bad, computer. I love you. My bad, computer. I'm gonna be nice. But I be talking. Yeah, this is natural for me to talk shit. I'm sorry. Oh, this is from a card reading I did the other day. Woo, you two of clubs, folks. Kamala's a two of clubs. Woo, y'all motherfuckers. And speaking of bloodline, yes, I'm a different than Kamala. I was going through my ancestry. Look at this marriage I have. Talk about some bloodline. For all you xenophobic people trying to tell me this is who I am. For the people out there, for all you xenophobes telling me that I shouldn't draw a distinction between me and Red Dot Kamala. Look at this. This is a marriage my family had almost 300 years ago. My 8th great grandmother, Mary Elizabeth Bruder, Native American, and my 8th great grandfather, they married. I pulled up the marriage certificate. They got married in 1718. I'm trying to say in 1720. I said 17. In 1728. Like they were like 18. No, it was 7. No, it was 1730. Abraham's previous. He got married to Mary in 1732. I think it was. It was 1732. That's when they got married. So, but anyway, you see where my bloodline goes. Abraham, man of color, Scott. This is right after Bacon's Rebellion. See, America wasn't really tripping on color before Bacon's Rebellion in the 1680s. 1680, it was white, black, it was like whatever. But after that Bacon's Rebellion, when white folks and black folks got together and started beating these motherfuckers' asses and Native Americans, they started bringing that race thing into the picture. So my great grandfather was known as Abraham, man of color, Scott. So I'm speaking purely as a pure-blooded American. This was before there was the United States. These was the colonial niggas. I got colonial niggas in my family. These niggas wearing stockings and shit. So anyway, you got people. Abraham was a popular name for black people back in the day. Now, before Abraham Lincoln, and it's suspected Abraham Lincoln was black, especially when you look at his presidential run, when they were calling him Abraham Africanus. If y'all remind me, when we get to the end of the show, because I don't want to divert right now and switch subjects, but if y'all remind me when we get towards the end, we can break down that log cabin Republican thing and Chingy's reaction to the log cabin Republican, because you do know the reason why the log cabin Republicans were called the log cabin Republicans, because President Lincoln was suspected gay. The log cabin Republicans is the gay wing of the Republican Party. And it's suspected that Abraham Lincoln was gay, and it's also kind of widely known for the time that he had a Melungeon mother. And so they called him President Abraham Africanus. And the reason why the log cabin Republicans call themselves log cabin Republicans is because President Lincoln was raised in a log cabin. And so they call themselves the log cabin Republicans and as the party of Lincoln Republicans. And that has to do with his gay, rumored suspect. So I just find it amusing that the log cabin Republicans have been in the news this past week with that concert with Chingy and Kid Rock. But that requires, an in-depth study of American history, which we don't have time to go into right now. But I've gone into this kind of stuff on Patreon. So anyway, you got D.L. Hughley, somebody that didn't graduate high school and couldn't read until he was in his 30s, talking about Janet Jackson. And this is Janet Jackson, who's given us so much. She's Penny from Good Times. She's given us all the good stuff. She gave us this.
What have you done for me lately?
All she said was what we all was thinking, Kamala ain't this, Kamala ain't that. And here come D.L. Hughley, Captain Democrat. He said the interview sounded like a Trump rally. Huh? How does the interview sound like a Trump rally? That don't even make sense. Let's read his voice. I find it a little ironic to question whether somebody is black while you bring the nose of a white woman. So this nigga goes in on a black woman minding her own goddamn business, authentically black. Her cousin is, Janet Jackson's cousin is Stevie Wonder. You don't get no blacker than that. Your brother Michael Jackson and your cousin is Stevie Wonder, and you from Gary, Indiana, and your dad name is Joe Jackson. Nigga, you don't get no more black than that. So why another black person will be fighting another black person over Kamala Harris is beyond me. But you get this nigga a check, he'll do any goddamn thing. Ooh, it's a massa. Oh, no, it's a massa. No, massa. Kamala looks what she does because she has a mom from India and a dad from Jamaica. Yeah. Jamaica is not a race. It's an ethnicity. Janet Jackson looks the way she does because she has a plastic surgeon. Okay. That's low, DL. Attacking a black woman, huh? And this be the same person that be like, we all need to make sure that we protect our black women. What happened to protecting black women, D.L. Hughley? This is tasteless. This is actually very, 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 very tasteless. It's classless and it's beneath, to me, it's beneath any black man worth his weight in gold. D.L. Hughley ain't worth his weight in feathers for doing some classless shit like this. You throw a personal shot at a black woman, because let's say Janet probably, the way she said, I can tell Janet Jackson don't give a fuck about what's going on in the news. She rich, touring the world. You think she give a fuck about who the president is? I'm sure Janet did just hear some things in passing. So you're going to attack one of our black legends because she expressed a point of view that's different from what your white handlers told you. Wow. Talking about her nose, talking about her plastic surgery. Man, D.L. Hughley, straight up, man. That's Little Johnson energy, homeboy. That's real, nigga. Who sprained your urethra, homeboy? All I know is Kamala looked like she did when she was in Oakland, but Janice don't look like she did when she was Penny. What the hell was in that iron? Hey, chat room. I haven't been looking at the chat room. And I apologize, chat room. I haven't acknowledged y'all. Thank y'all for joining. I apologize. My apologies for the chat room for not even, because I jumped right into it without even acknowledging y'all. So welcome, chat room. I apologize for that. And what am I missing here? Does this look cool? To have a black man going at Janet Jackson over a politician? And it's something, chat. Y'all be honest with me. Am I missing something? Am I missing something? Like, am I being too petty? Am I doing too much? I want y'all honest opinion. Am I doing too much? Like aesthetically, how does this look? Like, yo, like for real, like we got a black American man and like really going hard, throwing personal shots at a black woman over a politician. He said, appreciate the super chat. Nicole Jones says Sweden is paying $34,000 to each Caribbean and African migrant to leave the country. Wow. Shit. I didn't know it was like that. I did not know it was like that. I did not know it was like that. I did not know it was like that. I'm changing some customization on my comment section. So there we go. Let me do that. Appreciate the super chat, Hurt. You said D.L. Hughley's a real retard. Remember we used to have to wear hand-me-down suits to perform at the Regency West. You're right about that, Twitter. Yeah, when he was over there at the Regency West over in Leimert Park. Yeah, on his way up, going at a black woman. Oh, there we go. Subscribers, 1 hour for 2 hours. There we go. Let me see. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I'm doing some customization real quick. Then we're going to get right back to it. There we go. There we go. So we back down to it. So that wasn't cool. So let's break this down academically. I don't have time. I don't have time to go through my whole college books. But one thing I love about ChatGPT, knowledge is something that is just knowing the right question to ask. So what I did was I went and asked the right question. So I'm gonna give you, let's break this down anthropologically. I asked ChatGPT to give me the answer. I already knew it, but I wanted to show it to you guys. The anthropological distinction between race, culture, and ethnicity. That was a question that was asked. I wrote it here. This is my prompt up here. The anthropological difference between race, culture, and ethnicity. That's all I asked ChatGPT to give me. I wanted to give you guys, let's get into feelings, because a lot of people like to talk about what they feel. Well, I feel Kamala Harris is black because. Well, I think she is. Well, she looks this, she looks that. So let's go to what the books say the difference between race, ethnicity, and culture is, all right? Let's put our thinking caps on. The anthropological distinction between race, culture, and ethnicity lies in the concepts, foundations, context, and meanings, even though they are often mistakenly used interchangeably in everyday conversation. Okay? Let's go further. Race. And I agree with all these definitions. Race, the definition race refers to the physical and biological traits people often share due to their genetic ancestry. But like it says here, the anthropological view, the race is a social construct. That's all it is. It's really semantics. Race is a thing that was constructed to divide the resources groups of people get. That's the Dr. Claude Anderson definition. The Dr. Claude Anderson definition is race is the competition of wealth and resources between different groups of people. And these groups of people are determined based on basically people's definition. Like I said before, Irish Catholics were not considered white. Really, Kennedy becoming president helped them, but they weren't considered white in the 30s. Italians weren't considered white in the 1920s. You dig what I'm saying? Russians weren't considered white in the 1930s. These groups change. Black, as a construct, was always referred to as Black American, the American black, down to the point to where people who are not Black American they will fight you if you call them black. We've all experienced this shit. Do not play around with that. I'm not black, I'm Trinidadian. I'm not black, I'm Ghanaian. I'm not black. How many times you gotta hear this shit? I'm not black. Yeah, we agree. But because race is a social construct, the label can be interchangeably used. So technically, based on Kamala Harris's phenotype, she can be seen as black. And I get why people may see her that way, but I don't get why you would go at a black woman over her, D.L. Hughley. But race is a social construct. Ethnicity, black people in America are an ethnicity with its own culture. We're race and it's our ethnicity. Black American. Black American is an ethnicity. It's a distinct group of people who were born and raised in the United States of America whose ancestries trace back to slavery. That was always what the ethnicity of black meant in America. And right here, it tells you different. This shares to within a group based on common ancestry, language, history, nationality, or cultural practices. Kamala talks about summers in India. That takes out history. We don't share common history with her. She talks about summers in India. Cultural practices. We saw the cooking video. She cleans her greens in bathtubs. That takes her out of that. Ancestry. Jamaican, Irish, Indian. That takes her out of that. My ancestry, her ancestry is Indian. My ancestry is from here. In the 1700s, my family was still here. And it's just two of my, at this, when you go this far back, I have what, over 8 generations back? What's that? 128 ancestors? All 128 were born here? All 128 of those ancestors were born, and there's no disrespect to Kamala. It's just saying that, hey, her summers was spent in India. Language. Her people speak that 7-Eleven shit. She speaks 7-Eleven. I speak goddamn 9-11. American English. I don't speak that 7-Eleven shit. Respect to 7-Eleven. I love them Slurpees. But I don't know what the motherfuckers is saying when I go in there. And y'all be rude and disrespectful. We be trying to come up there and get a Slurpee. And y'all come talking about something 999999999. And I'm like, nigga, we all speak English. Like, what you trying to hide something there? Come on, chat room. Look. We all of us American English folks, English speaking black people, we've all been there. We've all been there. We've all been going to the 7-Eleven or the gas station, and all you want is some goddamn red vines and a fruit punch. And here they come talking shit. You over there just trying to do some regular ass shit. And they come 999999999. And you like, what's all this extra energy, homeboy? Look, this is Kamala's people right here. This is Kamala people right here.
Obviously, her family is Indian also. But that doesn't mean she gives a free pass to everything that India does.
Hindu. Man, all my family is Christians. Man, that be tripping me out. All the Christians I know, nigga, black people, we either got Christians, Nation of Islam or Jehovah's Witnesses in our family. That's it. We ain't got no Hindu. I remember black folks calling Tina Turner weird when she adopted Buddhism. When she came in doing that hum on a movie, I remember watching What's Love Got to Do with It. And when they touched on, I remember everybody at the church when that movie What's Love Got to Do with It came out, on that part where she was meditating the Buddha. I remember my whole church had an issue with that part of the movie. Black Americans are very conservative when it comes to religion. You either gonna be Muslim, Jehovah's Witness. Nigga, we still think Gladys Knight is tripping for becoming a Scientologist. No. She's a Mormon. But how did Gladys Knight become a Mormon? And how did Isaac Hayes become a Scientologist? We look at Will Smith for being weird for Scientology. She Hindu.
Look, Kamala Harris is nothing strongest, as you say. The only strongest were when I saw her campaigning for district attorney's post. When against all, she's in India, she likes India, obviously her family.
Does that sound like your granddaddy?
But that doesn't mean.
Does that sound like your granddaddy? Let's go back to the books, nigga. So, that's one of those things where black Americans have our own distinct culture that we built over 400 years of being all together when they amalgamated the Melungeons. Like, culturally, we were a different culture 200 years ago. 200 years ago, there was definitely a distinction between mulattoes, Melungeons, Negroes. But we realized over time that mulatto and Melungeon distinctions did not make a difference. As long as we weren't white, we were all the same. So where 200 years ago, we knew the difference between a freedman, a slave, a northern black, a mulatto, a Melungeon, an Indian. See, 200 years ago, you still had black folks in the North composing classical music, and they were free. And you look at it was Edward Allen, the founder of the church. Was Richard Allen? Richard Allen and Northern blacks Richard Allen. Richard Allen and Northern blacks, this was the original AME church. Richard Allen in the North, they made sure to do everything they could to act like they weren't different than the niggas in the South. Look up Richard Allen in Philadelphia. This is why Philadelphia is so important in music history. In the North, they were playing more classical violin style, chamber style music, very just very straight down the middle, because they wanted to draw a big distinction between the Negroes in the North and the niggas down south spinging them spirituals. There was always some sort of a cultural war within Black America, but we realized over the last 100 years that cultural war got us nowhere. So Black people realized in about the 1920s, 30s, that's when we started setting aside the differences between mulattoes, Melungeons, light skin, dark skin, Northern Black versus Southern Black. These are still topics that we talk about, but culturally we talk about these things from a very superficial point of view. Because we understand when the rubber meets the road, when it's time for the nitty gritty, as grandmama used to always say, we all Black. Other cultures have not gone through this cultural revolution yet. They'll say we're Black when it's time to get a Black scholarship. When it's time to benefit from Blackness, they'll say we're Black. But when they get an award, do something great, then they're Jamaican, then they're Hindu, they're Ghanaian. Other groups have not gone through this cultural revolution yet. The Black American went through this cultural revolution about 100 years ago. Now, that's not to say that we don't have a boule class and a Black aristocracy Negro class that doesn't perpetuate this stuff. Yes, we do. And that's why we continue to be in this situation, because groups like the boule, groups, your Michael Eric Dyson type Negroes that are talking shit on camera and flirting with that white chick behind closed doors. We got to talk about that too. You got the Al Sharpton types, the Roland Martins, the Angela Rye's, these talented 10th ass niggas that get a lot of money from white people to keep the rest of Black America in place. We do have that issue. But overall, when you get outside of these talented 10th Negroes, Black Americans understand that, look, we all are the same at the end of the day. We'll talk a little bit of shit between Southern rap and New York hip hop, but our battles are very superficial. When it gets down to the nitty gritty, we know how to band together under the umbrella of Blackness. And that's a thing that other cultures have not gone through the cultural revolution of understanding yet. So, and look at culture. This is culture. This is what we have as a culture. Culture is the set of learned behaviors, beliefs, values, customs, and artifacts that members of a group share. Culture is dynamic and passed from generation to generation through socialization. Anthropological view. Anthropologists see culture as central to how humans adapt to and interpret the world around them. It can transcend ethnic or racial boundaries, allowing people or different backgrounds to share in similar way of life. Culture is often discussed in terms of music, food, tradition, language, societal norms, and can be shared by people from diverse ethnic backgrounds. When we're talking about the Black American culture, we got to understand, what is American culture? American culture, the way to assimilate to American culture is to be anti-Black. Assimilation to American culture is to be inherently anti-Black. When the ethnic Irish came, they were kicking it with Black people, listening to ragtime with us. When the ethnic Italians and ethnic Greeks came, We were all known as olive complected in the 19 teens in the 1890s. We were the olive complected and trying to do things politically based on our common shared olive complexion. Only for when white America said, okay, now you can now participate in this thing called whiteness, only for those groups to then flip on us and start riots and start bullshit and start shit with black Americans in order to be accepted as white. And that's the thing that black Americans have to look out for. American culture is assimilation to whiteness. That's what American culture is on top. Now, in the way it behaves, in the way it functions, when it comes to how it dresses black. It expresses itself the way black Americans talk. But black Americans created our culture in segregation. And our culture ends up bleeding up within about 10 to 20 years to the greater societal American culture based on the music, some of the lingo we use. Remember, the word ain't was considered ignorant back in the 70s and the 80s, only for it to be a common part of the lexicon now. It always comes up from us. But when it comes to American culture is about assimilation to whiteness. And assimilation to whiteness comes down to how brutal you can be towards blackness. That's why black people must understand the difference in cultures, races, and ethnicities. When you're dealing with somebody from a different ethnicity than such as Kamala Harris, you understand that her assimilation into America isn't going to be through being black. Her assimilation into Americanism is going to be how anti-black she can be. That's why when she became the California Attorney General, she put more black people in prison than anybody else before her. That's why when the Department of Justice went to Kamala Harris and asked her to, hey, California has too many prisoners, 2011, let some of those prisoners go. What did she say to the Department of Justice? No, we need them as a labor force. And because as long that when you're doing these type things you're showing your allegiance to white supremacy when the more you punish black people, the more punitive you are towards black people, the more you're aligning yourself with Americanism and American ideals. So now you understand there's always a reason why things happen. Why was Kamala Harris so evil towards black people? Well, the why is because in order to get closer and closer to whiteness, the more anti-black you have to be. You prove your whiteness through your anti-blackness, because all whiteness is in America is anti-blackness. There's no clear definition to white. White comes and goes. Latinos, that's not a race, that's an ethnicity. But racially, they're classified as white. Because white people use these as numbers they'll use them as numbers, but then when it comes down to getting the benefits of whiteness, they only get the benefits of whiteness when they're shitting on black people. If a Latino tried to shit on a white person, hell, if a Latino tried to shit on an Asian, they'll get reminded real fast that, yeah, we're using you for census purpose. But outside of the census, you ain't white. And nobody questions them. Nobody says I have a white mom. Why am I not considered white? They don't do that, do they? They don't say I got white in my bloodline further back. I was looking on my Ancestry with one of my bloodlines that go back to Europe. I actually on Ancestry have traced one of my bloodlines back to the year 1505 in Buckingham, England. All right. But I also know that bloodline got here to America in around 1650. And within one generation on Ancestry, I'm getting people saying man of color, Native American Indian, or that European married an American Indian, or that European first to America married a person of color. Two of my bloodlines go back do that. When you go back, we all kind of shit here in America, but when it comes down to skin color and phenotype, we're all considered one thing. Hell yeah, a lot of our ancestors were raped. Somebody asked me, am I proud of my European ancestry? Hell motherfucking yeah. I'm proud of everything that makes me. Nigga, I like myself, bitch. I'm proud of all my blood because I like me. If you got a problem with it, you can kiss my ass. I have bloodlines that start in Michigan, Potawatomi tribe. They were never anywhere near the East Coast. I got Michigan bloodline. I got Louisiana bloodline that I can trace back to the 1700s. And everybody from the UK, everybody from Scotland and England wasn't white. You fucking dunce. Now, I don't know if my family was black or white out of England. It's too far back. I cannot tell. I did ask Dr. Clyde Winters to help me. Because Dr. Clyde Winters got some information on that. Dr. Clyde Winters got some information on that. But hell yeah, you ain't gonna box me in, nigga. Hell yeah, I'm proud of my European ancestry. The same way I'm proud of my black my indigenous ancestry. The same way I'm proud of being black American now. And if you got a problem with it, you can kiss my ass. You probably don't even know your grandmama name. That's the worst part about it. Niggas that got an issue like that, nigga, you probably don't even know your great grandmama name. That's why you got to subscribe to Dr. Clyde Winters. Dr. Clyde Winters, subscribe to my Patreon too. But y'all got to subscribe to Dr. Clyde Winters' Patreon. He always has good information like this. Good stuff on his Patreon where he's going in talking about and breaking down the blackness, and he has all kinds of stuff. I'm just going back on some of the stuff on his Patreon. I've been a subscriber for Dr. Clyde Winters' Patreon for about 4 or 5 years now. And he's talking to you about the black civilizations in Europe, Mexico, and America that existed before. So, me personally, I don't know if those Europeans that came were black or white. Whatever they were, I'm fucking proud of them because it produced me, nigga. I tell you this though, anybody got an issue with that? Let's see if you can trace one of your bloodlines and see a man of color from 300 motherfucking years ago, nigga. If Abraham, man of color Scott, was a man of color, the fuck do you think his mommy and daddy was? Who the fuck do you think his grandparents was? If Mary Elizabeth Voodoo was Native American, who the fuck was her grandparents and great-grandparents? Got niggas coming over here at Dad's talk stuff. You got white blood in you. I'm pretty sure you do too. And you would know if you knew your grandmama's last name. But you don't know your grandmama's last name because your mama was a hoe. And your daddy could be any one of them niggas standing in front of the liquor store right now. You always thought that one nigga standing in front of the liquor store could have been your dad because y'all got the same nose. But your mama would always be like, keep walking, son, keep walking. Matter of fact, don't go to that liquor store no more. Go to the other one across the street. That'd be the nigga talking about something. You got white ancestry? Yeah, nigga. At least I know their names. Hell, one of my a dude with a lion face. White people are only massa if you consider them massa. Now, if you want to go around and your perception of white people is massa, then that's on you. My ancestors went through some shit that they had to go through to get me to where I am now. And I'm taking the motherfucking football and running with it. You dig what I'm saying? My ancestors, they got here however they got here. And that trauma still lives through my blood. But I'm in control of my life, nigga. 98% of your DNA is junk DNA. That means it's programmable DNA. That means you can program your DNA. Epigenetics plays a role, but you can consciously program your DNA based on your perception of your events. Either you can be a victim of your past, or you can take your past and empower yourself for the present to create a greater future. It's your choice, corny ass nigga, on how you do it. It is your choice. You could either play victim and be like, oh no, Lord helps me. My great grandmama 200 years ago was raped by that brutal white man, and ooh, my Lord, ooh, Jesus, just help me, Lord. Or you could say, my great grandmother was raped by that white man, and my grandmama's DNA is so strong, she didn't buckle, she didn't flee to another country, she didn't go around and fall out and die. She stayed strong enough to be there and raise that child as her own and give that child the love and nature and nurture that allowed that child to grow into something great that ended up producing another child who produced another child who produced another child for me to get here. And you could think about all of the great things that have gone through, in spite of what you've gone through, in spite of things not working out your ancestors' way, in spite of all of that, I'm still here and I'm still kicking ass. Your choice. Are you gonna be a man or are you a hoe? That's your decision. You could either be a victim and toot your ass up and say, ooh, that's massa. Give it to me, massa. Or you'd be like, all right, cool. Y'all got me a couple hundred years ago. Y'all got me. But I'm still now here, bitch. And I love myself in spite of all that shit. What are you? A victim of the past? Or a nigga that's going to be like, I'm going to stand up to that shit and I'm going to pay it forward so the next generation has less to deal with than I had to deal with. That, my friend, is your choice. Because I identify with it all. One of my grandfathers that was raped, his parents was a slave. They were Melungeon slaves, mulatto slaves in DC. Got the patent for the railroad crossing. This dude was a grandchild of a slave, Nathaniel Hoggett, who was set to be released in 1855 when the slave master, here it is. This is my ancestry, hoe ass niggas that got shit to say. Look at this. This is a totally different bloodline than this one here. But you see here, this is a newspaper clipping in 1855. My great-great-great-great-grandfather was supposed to be released from slavery, but the governor of Mississippi, see, they were property of Wilfred Hoggett, who at his death gave them their freedom in his will. But from unforeseen circumstances, the will was not carried into effect until his son Nathaniel resided of legal age. Nathaniel at the time was 2 months old. And this happened in 1855. So my family thought that they was about to get inherited the plantation that they had to be raised on. But the state of Mississippi, the governor, jumped in and said, nah, homie, we ain't giving y'all that. His grandson, this slave's grandson, 2 generations later, invented the automatic railroad crossing that all of you niggas go up to every time you stop at a red light, and that shit go ding, 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 ding. That was the grandson of one of my mulatto slave grandfathers. And that money gave my family to move from Benton Harbor, Michigan to Los Angeles, California, LA, California, which is a totally different bloodline than this one here. So I don't want to hear none of that shit, nigga. My side was a slave. Kamala's side owned slaves. So yeah, my great-great-great-great-grandmother may have had babies from a nasty, filthy-ass slave master. But I'm here and I'm proud of myself. And I love my mom. I love my dad. I love all 4 of my grandparents. And for my grandparents, my mom's mom died. My mom didn't even know her mom. My mom's mom died. My mom was just a couple months old. So I didn't get to meet them. But my aunties and stuff are still alive, and I talked to them about who my grandmama was, even though I didn't get a chance to meet her. But my grandmama on my dad's side, man, I love them. I love all the ones that I met. And it's my job to preserve their legacy. And I'm not going to sit here and allow some dickhead nigga like D.L. Hughley to disrespect Janet Jackson. Because when me as a black man in America, when I'm going through my trials and tribulations, it was Janet Jackson and her family that gave the music it gave me the music to dance through my issues.
What have you done for me lately?
Her family, the Jacksons, their blood. And I don't care that Michael Jackson had to bleach his skin. He had vitiligo. But I don't give a damn what he did to his skin. He gave us this.
All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
Janet Jackson's brother told your dickhead ass D.L. Hughley what it is. He told you what it is.
Say is that they don't really care about us.
Kamala is they. She's a politician. She's a politician. She is the they.
All I wanna say is that they don't really care about us.
And you going at a black woman whose bloodline gave us music to survive our bullshit over a politician that when she loses ain't gonna give a fuck about you, not acknowledge you, not give a damn about you. No, I stand for my people. Look at Michael Jackson's lyrics in that song, man. Michael Jackson was preaching. He telling you, this ain't the land from which Kamala came. Listen, look at the words of this. The proclamation promises free liberty. We tired of being the victim of shame. Why are we tired of being the victim of shame? This is why. Y'all throw us in a class with a bad name. Black is bad. We as black people got to experience this shit all the time. Kamala gets to move to Canada, jump around and marry Jewish people and white folks, and she gets to go into other worlds. She gets to move around the world. We don't get to do that.
The government don't wanna see it.
He told us everything we need to know. Black men, black male, throw the brother in jail. Huh. Who is responsible for throwing more black people in jail than any attorney general in California state history? Oh, did you say Kamala Harris? Janet's brother was talking about this bitch. And y'all know I don't even like using that word. I use that word appropriately. They don't give a fuck about us. So Kamala, if Janet Jackson, even if Janet Jackson's wrong in her assessment of her father being white, when it come down to it, he ain't black. He didn't write black. He could have wrote black on that birth certificate. He chose to write Jamaican. Shows you how he identifies. That shows you how he identifies. Y'all better stop playing with us. Make sure I hit the like, but we got almost 1,000 here on YouTube, 500 on Twitter. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, y'all. Make sure y'all do that. Make sure y'all hit the like button and share this shit. And then also what y'all need to do is go to thewanb.com, put your name on the email list. You know what I mean? Go on over there to thewanb.com. Also go to my Patreon. My Patreon, my Cash App, all that stuff is pinned at the top. My websites are right there at the top, pinned at the top of the video in the comment section. Click on that and understand. Also, I want to say it was a dope wedding yesterday. Congratulations to the Islams. Got married. My man Reza Islam got married. I'm not going to show any video from the wedding. I took some, video for myself, but I'm not going to show any video out of respect for that brother's wedding. Cause I don't, you know me. I don't do the breaking news thing. But our brother, the great, somebody who I have a lot of respect for, Reza Islam, got married yesterday, and it was dope. And it was dope. I got to tell him, man, welcome to the Married Club. If you watching, Reza, man, I'm telling y'all right now, marriage is fun. Don't listen to these heartbroken ass niggas out here, fellas. You get you a woman that got your back. Ladies, you get a man that got your back. Make sure y'all have fun together and love each other. You know what I mean? That's what it's about, because at the end of the day, we can't change none of this politics stuff. When I talk about politics, I'm very clear. This is just fun and games. Talking about who the president gonna be is like talking about who won the latest basketball game. I don't give a fuck at the end of the day. You know who wins and who loses. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna still be me. At the end of the day, I'm still winning. And I choose me over any of these asshole politicians. But if we're going to play the political game, let's at least participate. If you're going to participate in the political game, let's at least be aware of what we're voting for, be aware of what we're doing. You know what I mean? Let's be aware who the players are. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to loving yourself and loving your people and loving your family. That's what it comes down to. And this is the one picture I will show. It was beautiful. This is the one picture I will show from the wedding. It was a very genuine wedding. Very, very, very genuine. Very genuine. And she's very genuine. Salute to the family. I got to have a good conversation with Dougie Fresh yesterday. That was cool as fuck. You know what I mean? My man Jeff Brown was there. Zoe Williams. Yeah, I got to chop it up with them. There was some hella cool brothers right there. Jeff Brown, and Dougie Fresh. So yeah, but I just pointed that to show that Black people are still getting married. We are still married out here. There's still love out here. And really, at the end of the day, when we're gonna talk all this politics stuff, we cannot balance this political talk. We have to balance this political talk with real talk. And the real talk is love of your family, love your group, love yourself. I mean, my man Dougie Fresh. It was dope. It was dope chopping it up with Dougie Fresh yesterday. That was hella dope. But it's all about love of family, love of self, and love your culture and love your people, because you cannot appreciate other people's culture sufficiently if you don't love and appreciate your own. But if the only thing you have is negative perceptions, negative points of views of your own, or if you're unaware of your culture and you only know the negative side of your culture, that's not going to do well as far as your perception of marrying another woman from your culture. And if you want to marry another woman from a different culture, that's fine too. Everybody ain't supposed to be the same. I'm not one to sit back and tell people who to marry, who not to. I don't get into all that. You know, I don't get into all that. Yeah, long live Black love, but I mean, I am here to show you Black love is real. Shit, my wife, my best friend. Me and my wife was giggling the whole wedding. Like, do these niggas know what they in for? Me and my wife was sitting back, elbowing each other. Like, remember when we was doing that? That was fun going to that wedding with my wife, man. I mean, I had a great time with my wife at that wedding yesterday. Isha, I mean, I love that woman, you know. But that's what it's about. It's really about self-love, love of family, love of each other. And out of that love of self, love of family, and pride, and loving each other, and pride in your culture. The reason why I do this work and I started doing music history and just understanding history is because in my 25 plus years working with kids and mental health and behaviors, I saw the common bond between a negative perception of group and culture and negative behaviors and negative towards one another. So we as Black people, we're in that time now to where we're truly identifying our culture. We're putting up points on the board. Okay, what do we contribute truly? Because we as a people, like John Henry Clark says, we only get highlighted the negative aspects of ourselves. The positives of Black American culture never get talked about. It's always black and negative, black and negative, black and negative. D.L. Hughley, you saw that shit in his in his shit. You saw D.L. Hughley, you saw that shit in his comedy. Every time they cracked the joke about race, the Black people was losing. You know, Black people are always late. You know, Black people ain't never on time. You know, Black people in there, and every time niggas talk about Black people have to get less, we lose, we get cut. It's never, you know, pride. So I talk our history and I talk for us because I stand for us. And through understanding our history, through understanding knowledge of self, we can then raise our group esteem. And as we raise our group esteem, it's going to change how we talk to one another. It's going to change how we treat each other. It's going to change how we take care of each other. You dig what I'm saying? When it comes to us, yeah, long live Black love. Hold on, I gotta turn my fan on. Hold on. Whee! All right, had to turn my fan on. So yeah, we as a people, it's about love. It's about the more we know about ourselves, the more we can appreciate ourselves. And the more we can come together as a group in strength with other people in their groups. Because when you know your group, it's not about shitting on the next group. It's about saying, this is where my greatness is, this is where your greatness is, and let's all combine greatnesses. But it's not about being divisive, and it's not about none of that shit. The world is already divided, okay? And black people from day one, we've been trying to get people under a common black umbrella since the umpteenth win time. Black people are always, we've been saying, going back, if you was around the 80s and the 90s, you know, 2000s, man, you still black. No, I'm not. I'm Jamaican. I'm Ghanaian. The lines have been drawn. And and anybody coming in saying anything else, you a motherfucking lie, and I don't respect you. Because we all know what it is. Well, since the lines are already drawn, then goddamn it, let's put a highlight around them lines. And let's really make exclusive our culture. Because we do have an exclusive, beautiful thing to have. That's why I speak so heavily on our Black American music. Because through our music, we hear every day our influence. You hear our influence every day. And I don't know if you've seen my documentary, It's Bigger Than Hip Hop, the first part. But if you ain't seen it yet, y'all got to go and check it out on my website. He had a song called The Milkman. And the song about my band. Y'all know this shit. You got to put it in a package with the history of the times and the culture of the country that these times are had in. So when we talk about black music and the things that we created, we can safely say these were inventions and creations of our own, because by law, we could not integrate and intermix with other cultures. By the time black people got to the point that they can be on the stage with white musicians, that's long after they've gotten great at what they do. Right. We break all this stuff down in my documentary. But culturally, when it comes down to it, the Black American, when we have gone out into the world has adopted our style, not the other way around. How can I say this? Well, just look at the instrumentation. When our music got to the Caribbean, they sat the steel drums down. They sat the merengue box down. They picked up the bass guitar in place of the merengue box. They picked up the drum set in place of the steel drums. The drum set is an invention of North American black people. D.D. Chandler, you can go back to 1896. The Smithsonian recognizes him as being the first person to create the foot pedal that goes on the kick drum. And the kick drum is the nucleus that all music formats surround, the kick and the snare. Basically what he did was he took the frontline instruments. That's what we're doing in my documentary. And my next installment is on gospel. Whoo, when y'all get the video of that, when y'all get to see this next one on gospel, my nigga, like, yeah, this one I'm working on right now, boy. I was looking for some of the recordings, but I don't have the recordings queued up. I don't have it queued up. But on my new one, we're going into the gospel roots of black music, making this a definitive point of view when it comes to the roots of Black American music and where it all starts from. Because they always talking to us about what we did wrong, what we do wrong, our shortcomings, our this and our that. But they don't like talking about where we win and where we won. Like, oh here, okay, I found a video. Look at this. Like, look at this. I got J-Mo on my next one. This is my man J-Mo. And this is just a raw, unedited. I got my man J-Mo. He's won Grammys with Anderson .Paak, with Jasmine Sullivan. Yes, sir. Give us play something right there, something that you would maybe play in gospel and in mainstream music. Let me see. Y'all can't hear? Can y'all hear?
Okay.
Hear that? Got my man J-Mo giving musical examples.
So, church and gospel and spiritual music came first. Blues came after it, but from my knowledge, in like the 20s, 30s, 40s, they were mixing. So you had a lot of blues musicians who were playing in the church musicians leaving the church playing blues. So that's how the sounds kind of sound similar now, because a mixture. You know what I mean? So yeah.
So yeah, that's my man J-Mo, multi-Grammy award-winning artist, breaking our music history down to the nitty-gritty. Breaking it all the way down, showing how our uniqueness as Black Americans in our music and in our culture. And I still got my Black American music family tree. My man Joe Fox, I think I saw him in here earlier. He's the one that designed the tree. Where you can get down. If you want to get this piece of history right now at DeWanB.com, breaking down the roots of all American music. Get that history right now at DeWanB.com. This is very important. It's very important that we know who we are. It's very important our children know who we are, because they're marginalized in the news all day, and nobody comes around and says, "Hey, why don't you let's help those. Let's change the perception of Black Americans, and especially people like Kamala and people who identify as others. When they win, they make sure to tell us all which island they from, what country in Africa they from, and all that shit. And that's totally fine. Me personally, I don't have time to play these games with these people. If that's the game you're gonna play, that's cool with me. If that's the game you're gonna play, that is cool with me. Then that just means we'll delineate and play it our way. He said Jan just auctioned off some earrings over a gift to her. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. She did. I forgot. Janet Jackson did put up them earrings that Oprah gave to her after she dissed her brother. Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to hear no Janet Jackson slander. Janet Jackson was kicked out of the mainstream. Janet Jackson was marginalized, and she was taken out basically over a white dude ripping her goddamn titty out. For those of you who weren't around, what's his name? Justin Timberlake at the Super Bowl sexually assaulted Janet Jackson, and Janet Jackson ended up becoming the victim. She ended up becoming the victim, and her career got derailed. And remember, it was a lot of Black comics talking about Janet Jackson pulling her titty out as if she did it on purpose, as if she wasn't sexually assaulted. That woman was sexually assaulted. Here's my Black American music family tree. Get it right now at DeWanB.com, tracing the history of Black music from the roots, from the 1600s through the 1700s, through the 1800s, then blossoming out in the 1900s with soul, jazz, and blues. Get to see where those forms of music cultivated and grew. All right? Get to know that. And yeah, I do get to gatekeep my culture. DL Hughley, a nigga that couldn't read until you was in your goddamn 30s, going in on Janet Jackson because you're getting paid to by an Indian president, presidential hopeful. This ain't cool. This ain't cool. Janet Jackson was a victim, and she took all that heat as a victim of sexual assault. Only for a chump like D.L. Hughley to go around and disrespect her because she has a different perception of the Indian president you want to vote for. And if gotta watch out for these short niggas. Well, Cat Williams is real. He a short nigga. He real. But for the most part, yeah, you gotta watch out for these niggas that are like 5'5", 5'6". They eye level. People that are like 5'6", they nose is just a couple inches over every other man's Johnson. You know, real niggas Johnsons is at they nose level. So they smell life in a funny way. You dig? Watch out for them short niggas. No disrespect to all you short niggas, but y'all know. Mm-hmm. Yes, D.L. Hughley's 100% FBA. That's why, even though I do draw the distinction between the two, we as Black people got to make sure that we totally understand that we got our own homegrown coons, and we got a coon issue, whether it be FBA or non-FBA, and they all got to get identified and exposed as to who they are. So watch out for these Johnson level type tall niggas, you know, and don't let us not be divided over no motherfucking presidential hopeful. That includes you, Michael Eric Dyson. Before I get up out of here, let's make a quick look at what Michael Eric Dyson's corny ass got caught in over the weekend. Michael Eric Dyson was, I remember when he when he went at that white woman. He went at a white woman basically on TV and talking about Kamala Harris's race, saying that she's disrespectful because her name is Kamala, not Kamala. Remember we talked about that on here? Well, she turned around and put screenshots to the text that he sent her. And now this nigga Michael Eric Dyson is chasing the pink.
To the record,
Look
a
at this.
screenshot of a text message I received from the esteemed professor from Vanderbilt, Michael Eric Dyson, after my CNN interview, begged me for photos. In this text, he says, after calling me racist on CNN, shh, don't tell anybody, we look good together, and sent me a kissy emoji.
Without
then
objection.
the guy
Order.
says I'm gorgeous in all these photos. I don't think he's that bent out of shape on how anyone pronounces Kamala. And if we're going to have that standard, you got to hold it to both sides, not just one or the other. I would like to also enter into the record a screenshot of a text message I received from.
So while the vociferous soliloquy Michael Eric Dyson on this old nigga that like to go around caping for Kamala and talking all kind of shit to Black people for not caping for her, is going around flirting with white girls through text message. And I don't put this beyond reach because that's why he got run out. Remember, I think it was Vanderbilt or was it Georgetown? One of those schools, he got run out for trying to fraternize with one of the students. This nigga didn't know. This how Becky's operate. I don't feel bad for no black man to get caught up in this kind of shit. I don't feel bad for no black man that gets caught up in this kind of shit. Flirting with a white woman. Boy, you don't know better. This nigga in the chat room is stupid. He said he want to show the big nipples. Oh, y'all niggas are stupid. Oh shit. Oh my God. Y'all niggas is dumb. So that's what it is, man. These are the kind of dudes that are sticking up for Kamala. Kamala, the men sticking up for Kamala sure do have very low moral standards. I'm noticing that. I mean, you got a D.L. Hughley who just recently, who 10 years ago said that he didn't stick up for his own goddamn daughter because he liked the guy, the one that she accused of whatever she accused of him. That's the moral code of these guys. That's the moral code. I'm gonna holler, fight the power on the camera and anti-blackness, and then as soon as the cameras look the other way, you flirting with the white girl. That's the moral and ethical code of the kind of black men that are supporting Kamala. Well, whether you FBA, non-FBA, and if that's your moral code, you ain't like us. You ain't like me. I don't give a damn if you are FBA. If that's your moral code, it takes a few dollars, but then you rah, but then you in the white girl's DMs like that. Nah, nigga, we different. Yeah, she probably did flirt with him. It's probably 20. I wouldn't doubt it if that white woman threw every signal in the book to him. She could have threw that nigga more signals than a corner of a goddamn Stocker and Overhill. If you from LA, you know what I'm talking about. She could have threw that nigga all the signals on earth. Yo dumb black ass fall for it, then boo on you, nigga. We got a 400-year track record of where that goes. At least 350 years. We got a long ass track record in America of where that goes. So I don't give a damn if she pulled her titties out and sent him a text message with her titties out, nigga. You better block that bitch. You don't take that bait, homeboy. You black. You should know better. Especially you just accused her of racism on national TV. Even if she wasn't thinking about doing that. One thing, look, let me tell you something about a white supremacist. White supremacist style people, they don't necessarily like being identified as a white supremacist. Being a white supremacist, being a racist, even in a white society, is looked down upon. It's a hush-hush thing. They do not like the accusation. If you didn't know that, Michael Eric Dyson. So if you're going to throw that out there, understand that if they have any leverage to come back on your dumb ass, they will. And that she did because you gave it to her. Should have followed my grandmother's advice. My grandmother used to always say, don't ever give the devil a stick to hit you over the head with. Don't you ever. We already understand how these motherfuckers get down and how they act. Don't give them any more leverage, you fucking idiot. And you did that. And we supposed to listen to your vociferous ass talk all them 4-syllable, 3-syllable, double entendre, and 6-syllable ass words that don't mean shit. Michael Eric Dyson is the only person that can throw out a triple entendre of all three things not meaning a motherfucking thing. Nigga, how did you just throw out a triple entendre of bullshit? Even when I decipher and break that double and triple entendre down, it still didn't say a motherfucking thing, you monkey ass nigga. All right, he played himself. Cornball. But book your readings at breakthroughcards.com. Reading students, for those of you who don't know, my reading class, I'm starting a new reading class October 6th. Teaching you motherfuckers how to read them cards. It's gonna be a 2-day boot camp. It's gonna be 2 classes. You got 1 pre-recorded class, 2 live classes with me, 2 Q&As with me to really teach you how the art and the science behind reading playing cards. Because as we all know, the theme for this year has been 8 of Hearts, year of exposure, exposing the people that we love and the people who are popular. And that's what's been happening all year. So in closing, I gotta say, man, join the Patreon for more in-depth shit. All right. And stay. I'll have an interview later on this week. I got 3 interviews up with Dr. Randy Short over on Patreon. As I said, YouTube don't fuck with Dr. Short, but we gonna keep the thing going on. So join my Patreon for all my Dr. Short interviews. They're up right now. I got 3 of them up over there. Got another one coming pretty soon. And an assortment of all kind of other interviews, all right? And my Destruction of Black American Music series, which will get going again next week, all right? All right, thank y'all again for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers, only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. Thank y'all again. We out.